Next chapter, transportation problem. Now, what is a transportation problem? The transportation problem can be described as follows. Suppose that there are M factories, F suffix I equal to 1, 2, 3 up to M. So there are M factories, F1, F2, F3 up to F suffix M. Now instead of factories, we can say that there are M origins or M sources. So there are M origins, M sources or M factories which supply product or goods to N warehouses. Warehouses means godowns. Another word we use destinations. So these M factories supply product or goods to the N warehouses or N destinations. W suffix I equal to 1, 2, 3 up to N. So there are N warehouses, W1, W2, W3 up to Wn. Now these M factories, F1, F2, F3 to Fm, produce goods A1, A2, A3 to Am. That is, the factory F1 produce A1 quantity of good. Second factory F2 produce small A2 quantity of goods. What is small A1, A2? These are the non-negative numbers and so on. So last mth factory produce how many quantity of goods? A suffix M. So A1, A2, A3 to Am denote the quantities of the product produced by these M factories. And the requirement of N warehouses, W1, W2, Wn, there are N warehouses, and the requirement of goods at these N warehouses are B1, B2, B3 up to Bn. That is, B1 is a quantity required at the first warehouse W1, B2 is the quantity of goods required at the warehouse W2 and so on. Bn, it is a quantity of goods required at the warehouse Wn. Now the total quantity produced A1, A2 to Am, summation I equal to 1 to M. This gives you total quantity produced at M factories. So A1 plus A2 to Am. A1 is a quantity produced at the factory F1, A2 denote the quantity of product produced at factory F2 and so on. Am is the quantity of product produced at the mth factory. So summation I equal to 1 to M gives you total quantity produced at M factories. And summation Bj, J equal to 1 to N, that is B1 plus B2 plus B3 and so on. Now B1 is the requirement at the warehouse W1, V2 is the requirement at the warehouse W2, Bn is the requirement at the warehouse Wn. So this is the total quantity required. So total quantity produced is equal to total quantity required. So we assume that total quantity produced is the same as total quantity required. Let Cij, C suffix ij, be the cost of transporting 1 unit, cost of transporting 1 unit of the product from ith factory to jth warehouse, from the ith factory to jth warehouse, cost of transporting 1 unit. Cij denote the cost of transporting 1 unit from the ith factory to jth warehouse. The problem is to determine the quantity Xij, the quantity to be transported. Xij means the quantity to be transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. Xij denote the quantity to be transported from ith factory to jth warehouse in such a way that the total transportation cost Z is minimized. So the transportation problem is to determine this quantity Xij, that is the quantity to be transported from ith factory to jth warehouse in such a way that the total transportation cost Z is minimized. Now what is Z? Summation I equal to 1 to M, summation J equal to 1 to N, Cij into Xij. What is Cij? Cost of transporting 1 unit. And what is Xij? Quantity transported. Now Cij is the cost of transporting 1 unit from ith factory to jth warehouse. And Xij is the quantity transported. How much units are transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. So this is a cost of transporting 1 unit into number of units transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. So this gives you Cij into Xij gives you the cost of transporting Xij unit from ith factory to jth warehouse. And the sum of all such terms gives you the total cost of transportation. So we want to find Xij in such a way that the total transportation cost is minimum. This Z is minimum. So this is how the transportation problem can be described. So we assume that there are M factories F1, F2 to Fm, which supply goods to the N warehouses, W1, W2, Wn. Now these M factories produce how many goods? A1, A2 to Am. This is a quantity of goods produced at these M factories, and the requirement of N warehouses, W1, W2, Wn are the N warehouses. Requirement at these N warehouses is B1, B2 to Bn. And we assume that the total quantity produced is the same as total quantity required. Let Cij be the cost of transporting 1 unit of the product from ith factory to jth warehouse, and Xij denote the quantity to be transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. This is a quantity transported, and this is a cost of transporting 1 unit. since it is a cost of transporting one unit and Xij is the number of units transported. So product Cij into Xij gives you the cost of transporting Xij unit from ith factory to jth warehouse. And the sum of such quantity gives you the total transportation cost. So the problem is to determine Xij, the quantity to be transported from ith factory to jth warehouse in such a way that the total transportation cost is minimized. Summation, double summation I equal to 1 to m, j equal to 1 to n, Cij, Xij. This is a total transportation cost. We want this total transportation cost minimum. Now the model for transportation problem is usually written in the tabular form or in the matrix form as follows. So this is a table. On the left hand side, we write the symbols F1, F2, Fm for the M factories. So these are the M factories, and the quantity of goods produced at these M factories is written here A1, A2 to AM. It is called capacities of the factories, or sometimes we write supply available at these M factories or capacities of the factories. So F1 produces A1 quantity of product, F2 produces A2 quantity of product, and FM, factory FM produces AM this much quantity of product. At the top we write W1, W2, Wn. These are the warehouses. N warehouses are there, and the requirement at these N warehouses is written here at the bottom, B1, B2 to Bn. B1 is the requirement of these goods produced at these M factories. So how much quantity of goods required at the warehouse W1 is given here. B1 denote the quantity of goods required at W1, B2 denote the quantity of goods required at the warehouse W2 and so on. Bn denote the quantity of product required at the warehouse W1. In the matrix, C11 means cost of transporting one unit from first factory to first warehouse. C12 cost of transporting one unit from factory F1 to second warehouse, and so on. C1n, that is the cost of transporting one unit from factory F1 to warehouse WN. C21, it is a cost of transporting one unit from second factory to first warehouse. C22, cost of transporting one unit from second factory to second warehouse, and so on. So in this way, the transportation problem is usually written in this format using the matrix or using the tabular form. Mathematical formulation of a transportation problem. How to describe mathematically? So mathematically, the transportation problem can be stated as follows. Find Xij, I equal to 1 to m, j equal to 1 to n. Determine these m into n quantities for which the total transportation cost z is minimized. Determine Xij for which the total transportation cost is minimized. Xij means number of units transported, and Cij means the cost of transporting one unit. So product will give you the cost of transporting Xij unit from ith factory to jth warehouse, and summation means total transportation cost. So that is total transportation cost for transporting all the available units from M factories to N warehouses. This is a total transportation cost. So minimize this transportation cost. Subject to the conditions or restriction, we have to determine Xij in such a way that Z, that is total transportation cost, is minimized subject to the following restriction. So this is equation number 1. Z is the total transportation cost. It is called objective function, which is to be minimized subject to the following restrictions or condition. So what is the first restriction? Summation Xij, j equal to 1 to n, that is, put j equal to 1, we get xi1, put j equal to 2, we get xi2, and so on. Put j equal to n, so we get xin equal to ai. Now xij means the quantity transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. So this is a quantity transported from ith factory to first warehouse, quantity transported from ith factory to second warehouse, quantity transported from ith factory to third warehouse, and this is a quantity transported from ith factory to nth warehouse. So that means quantity transported from ith factory to all n warehouses is equal to the quantity available at ith factory. AI is the production in the ith factory, or the quantity of goods available at the ith factory. So quantity transported from ith factory to all warehouses. Quantity transported from ith factory to all warehouses is equal to AI, that means the quantity produced in ith factory. So whatever transported from ith factory to all warehouses is equal to the quantity produced in ith factory. And how many equations are there? There are m factories, so I equal to 1, 2, 3 up to m. There are m equations here. Next, summation xij, I equal to 1 to n. Now put I equal to 1, we get x1j. Put I equal to 2, we get x2j, and so on. Put I equal to n, we get, I varies from 1 to m. Put I equal to m, so we get xmj. So what is x, 1j, 2j, 3j? That is the quantity transported from first factory to jth warehouse, second factory to jth warehouse, third factory to jth warehouse, and mth factory to jth warehouse. That is the quantity transported from all m factories to the jth warehouse is equal to the requirement at the jth warehouse. B suffix j is the requirement at jth warehouse. So quantity received at the jth warehouse, or quantity transported to jth warehouse from all the m factories, or the quantity received at jth warehouse from all m factories is equal to the requirement at that factory. Now how many warehouses are there? There are n warehouses, j equal to 1, 2, 3 up to n, that is W1, W2, W3 to Wn. N warehouses are there. So there are n such equations. So this is your equation number 3. Then what is the next restriction? Summation AI is equal to summation Bj. So we have seen this equation, that is the total supply available is equal to the total requirement. So this is the total quantity of goods produced at m factories, and this gives you the total requirement at the n warehouses. So we assume that the total quantity available or total quantity of goods produced at M factories is equal to the total quantity of goods required at N warehouses. So this is one more restriction in the transportation problem. And these are called non-negativity constraints or non-negativity restriction. What is X suffix ij? Quantity of goods transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. So this quantity cannot be a negative number. Quantity transported is always a positive or zero. When Xij is zero, that means quantity transported from ith factory to jth warehouse is zero. That means no product is transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. And when it is positive, suppose it is 2, that means two quantities of the product are transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. So all Xij are non-negative numbers. I equal to 1 to m, j equal to 1 to n. So these are the restrictions in the transportation problem. We have written 5 equations. So mathematically, the transportation problem can be stated as determine Xij, that is the quantity transported from ith factory to jth warehouse, such that the total transportation cost is minimized subject to this following restriction. What are the restrictions? Summation Xij j equal to 1 to n is ai. This restriction means quantity transported from ith factory to all warehouses is equal to the quantity produced at the ith factory, and here the quantity received at the jth warehouse, summation Xij I equal to 1 to n. So quantity received from m factories to jth warehouse is equal to the requirement at the jth warehouse. Quantity received at the jth warehouse from all the factories is equal to the requirement at the jth warehouse. And how many warehouses are there? There are n warehouses. And next restriction is total supply available is equal to the total demand. Whatever produced at M factories, this quantity is the same as the requirement at the N warehouses. And the last is all values of Xij are non-negative values. That is, the quantity transported from ith factory to jth warehouse is always a non-negative quantity. I equal to 1 to m, j equal to 1 to m. So this is how mathematically the transportation problem is described. Now let us study some terminology used in the transportation problem. So we define few terms that are used in transportation problem. Feasible solution. A feasible solution to a transportation problem is a set of non-negative values of Xij. What is Xij? Quantity of goods transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. So feasible solution to the transportation problem is a set of non-negative values of Xij which satisfies the row and column sum restriction. Row restrictions and column sum restriction, that is equation 2 and 3. What is equation 2? So we have seen these restrictions. This equation 2, quantity transported from ith factory to all n warehouses is equal to quantity produced in the ith factory. This is called row restriction because this is a row, this is a factory F1 and A1 is the quantity produced at the factory F1, and the quantity transported from F1 to W1, F1 to W2, F1 to Wn is equal to the quantity available at F1. So this is called row restriction. Similarly, column restriction means equation 3 gives you the column restriction. Quantity received at the jth warehouse from all factories is equal to requirement at jth warehouse. So this is a first warehouse W1 or consider W2. The quantity received at W2 from F1, F2 to Fm is equal to, we want this is equal to the requirement at W2, and the requirement at W2 is B2. Quantity of goods received at W2 from all these M factories is equal to the requirement at that warehouse. So this is called column restriction. So we want a solution in which column restrictions and row restrictions satisfied. So if column restrictions and row restrictions satisfied, it is called a feasible solution. So feasible solution to a transportation problem is a set of non-negative values of Xij which satisfies row and column sum restrictions. That is equation number 2 and 3 in the mathematical formulation of transportation problem. So a feasible solution to a transportation problem is a set of non-negative values of Xij which satisfies row and column sum restriction, that is which satisfies equation 2 and 3. Now second, basic feasible solution. A feasible solution of M cross N transportation problem. A feasible solution of a M cross N transportation problem, that is a transportation problem in which there are M rows and N columns in the transportation matrix. So a feasible solution of a M cross N transportation problem is said to be basic feasible solution if the total number of positive allocations Xij is exactly equal to M plus N minus 1. That is 1 less than the number of rows and columns. M means number of rows, N means number of columns, 1 less than the number of rows and columns. So in the feasible solution, we determine the values of Xij which satisfy the row sum restriction and column sum restriction. So a feasible solution contains non-negative values of Xij which satisfies row sum restriction and column sum restriction. So such a feasible solution of M cross N transportation problem is said to be basic feasible solution. Now this feasible solution becomes a basic feasible solution if the total number of positive allocation Xij, so that means total number of positive values of Xij is exactly equal to M plus N minus 1. So we count how many positive values of Xij are there. How many positive values of Xij are there. If there are M plus N minus 1 positive values of Xij in the solution, it is called basic feasible solution. M means number of rows, N means number of columns in the transportation problem. So this is a basic feasible solution. What is the optimum or optimal solution? A feasible solution is said to be optimal if it minimizes the total transportation cost. So whatever solution, if it minimizes Z, the total transportation cost, it is called optimal solution. Next definition, non-degenerate basic feasible solution. A feasible solution of a transportation problem, M cross N transportation problem, is said to be non-degenerate basic feasible solution. A feasible solution contains non-negative values of Xij satisfying the row sum restrictions and column sum restrictions. That is equation 2 and 3 in the mathematical formulation. So a feasible solution of M cross N transportation problem said to be non-degenerate basic feasible solution if the total number of positive allocations are exactly equal to M plus N minus 1. We have just seen it is a basic feasible solution. Count the number of positive values of Xij. The number of positive values of Xij is exactly M plus N minus 1, then that feasible solution is called basic feasible solution. So this means that first of all it is a basic feasible solution. That is the total number of positive allocations is exactly equal to m plus n minus 1. And these allocations are at independent position. When these m plus n minus 1 positive allocations are at independent position, then we say that this solution is a non-degenerate basic feasible solution. So there are two statements. One says that it is a basic feasible solution, that is the total number of positive allocations are exactly equal to m plus n minus 1. And second condition, these allocations are at independent position. Now we will see what is the meaning of independent position. So we will see what is the meaning of this statement. Now before that, one more definition, degenerate BFS. So if the total number of positive allocations are less than m plus n minus 1, here we want exactly m plus n minus 1. If the total number of positive allocations are less than m plus n minus 1, it is called degenerate basic feasible solution. Degenerate basic feasible solution. Actually, it is not a basic solution, because when we say that it is basic, it exactly contains m plus n minus 1 positive allocation. But there are how many positive allocations now? Less than m plus n minus 1. So it will not be a basic. So it is a degenerate feasible solution or degenerate solution. When the feasible solution contains how many positive allocation? Less than m plus n minus 1 positive allocation, then it is called a degenerate feasible solution. Now one more thing we will see, what is the meaning of this statement? Positive allocations are at independent position. By independent position of positive allocation, we mean that it is always impossible to form a closed loop or to form a circuit by joining these allocations by horizontal and vertical lines. It is always impossible. It is not possible to form a closed loop by joining this allocation using horizontal and vertical lines only. Consider this transportation problem. How many rows are there? 3 rows, 4 columns, 3 by 4 transportation problem. So m is 3, n is 4, m plus n minus 1 means 7 minus 1 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Suppose we get solution x12, x14, x22, x23, x31, x34. Xij gives the quantity transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. And suppose these are the positive values of xij, x12, x14, 22, 23, 31, 34. These values are positive. So these are the positive allocations. Now how many positive allocations are there? There are exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are m plus n minus 1 positive allocations. Alright. Now these positive allocations are at independent position. Why? Because if you try to join these positive allocations using horizontal and vertical lines, so try to join them. Suppose we join these two, we join these two, we join these two, we also join these two. We do not get a closed loop or we do not get a circuit. So that means joining this cell, a circuit or loop does not form. So therefore we say that these positive allocations are at independent position. Why? Because closed loop does not form by joining these positive allocations. So these positive allocations are at independent position. This is a non-degenerate basic feasible solution. Why basic feasible solution? How many positive allocations are there? M plus n minus 1. M plus n minus 1 is 6. So there are 6 positive allocations and these 6 positive allocations are at independent position. That is, joining these positive allocations using horizontal and vertical lines, closed loop or circuit does not form. So these positive allocations are at independent position. So by definition, it is a non-degenerate BFS. Now let us see another situation. Suppose it is the same problem, and in this problem we get this solution x12, x13, x22, x23, x31, x34. These are the positive allocations. This x suffix ij means it is a quantity of goods transported from ith factory to jth warehouse. Suppose there are 6 positive allocations. So these values are positive values. Now in this solution, if you try to join these 4 cells, we get a circuit or closed loop. So here closed loop form. So this is what we say. This is not a non-degenerate solution. It is not non-degenerate solution. And we say that these positive allocations are not at independent position. That is, this is a non-independent position of positive allocation. So here closed loop is possible. We do not want such a solution. If you want a non-degenerate basic feasible solution, then loop should not form there by joining this positive allocation. So in this solution, the positive allocations are at independent position, whereas in this solution, these positive allocations are not at independent position. We say that these positive allocations are at non-independent position. So this is not a non-degenerate solution.